What I wanted to do is just show off the Steam Deck OLED. So this just came in the mail like a couple, well, let's say 20 minutes ago. I had to get this set up and test all this stuff out, but I wanted to unbox this. Maybe nobody will watch this, but I don't know. Unboxing seems fun. It came in, might as well. It's a big item and those don't come in very often. So yeah, just to lead this off, here's my OLED, still in the box here. It just came in. I've got my old case, so what I was going to do is kind of compare at what the differences were between them. I assume it'll be pretty similar, especially because I've watched a lot of these videos, so I feel like it'll be pretty similar. But my old box with the stuff in here, just, you know, nice blue highlights, some reflective stuff, thing for the charging case. There's the old box, so that's out of the way. I've got my old Steam Deck, or current Steam Deck here, to compare to this new one. I'm really hoping for some of the improvements I've read about, being that they said the touchscreen works a little better on this. The haptics work better. The main thing for me is the OLED screen. Since I got the Switch OLED, I was pretty blown away by that, and it really changed like the portable play for me while playing the Switch OLED. So Steam Deck OLED seems great. Seems like just as big an upgrade since I play this, you know, almost 99.9% portably. So yeah, I'm very excited for this one. I still don't know what I'm going to do with my old one. See if I can pawn it off on somebody, but see if somebody would want that old Steam Deck, which is still very good. If anybody's considering, the LCD one is still great. I love it, but this upgrade seemed nice because it was the features that I thought were a little lacking. Seems like they've got improvements, so that's really nice to hear. Even though it is small stuff, it's things I've noticed after having it since April, I think, is when I picked that one up. But let's switch the view to this one. We'll get this top-down view. I've also got the old case for comparison, so we'll just have that out to compare here. Hopefully ignore the, you know, corner of my laptop over there. But Steam Deck box, it seems very similar to the old Steam Deck box. I also don't know. Yeah, some of that mic noise comes through, so I apologize for that. Seems like it's got all the same warnings and everything. Nothing special here. I know one of the problems, I've got my like address and stuff covered up for obvious reasons, but the old one had a listing on it that basically said Steam Deck. And I guess if you know any Valve stuff, especially this actual Steam Deck logo, other than like companion cube and stuff, you might get the hint. But I know that was a problem initially with these getting stolen off porches, because you could very obviously, like a iPhone box, tell what it was, and people were able to identify them pretty easily. So the old ones on the actual like shipping label also would say like Steam Deck from Valve, like it very clearly said it. I haven't looked to see if that's the case, but hopefully these maybe are just around a little bit more, that's not an issue. But my only concern is there's this one bump, but seeing how the last Steam Deck was packaged, I'm not too worried about that. It was pretty padded in a case of its own, so let's see what this is like. I also, if you're expecting to see the transparent one, that is not the one I got. I really wanted to get that one, and then I don't know if anybody else here was trying to pre-order. You probably know the pain that they went out of stock for a minute, but then kept coming back in stock. And by the time I got my order through, it said they were out of stock. I then tried to reorder, and then it said they were out of stock again. And then I got a notification from my card that I need to approve charges, so I had to back all the way out of the process. Thought I might be able to snag one, and then I managed to get just the 1 terabyte version. And then after I placed my order, the transparent limited edition ones came back in stock again. And by that time, my order went through, and I felt like the refund process would set me back. So long story short, I have the 1 terabyte version and not the limited. But all I really wanted was a Steam Deck upgrade in screen and storage capacity. So this is more than enough. It's just, yeah, the transparent one sure is cool. Let me see if I can zoom in a bit so we can see this. That's maybe too much. So yeah, your games in a whole new light. What does the old one say? Oh, okay. Your games are going places. So they've already gone places, and now it's time to have a new screen. Let's start with the boring stuff first. So I had also heard, and this is, God, I was weirdly excited for this. People were saying that the charging cord actually is longer. And believe it or not, that actually sounds like a nice upgrade, because the current one is just like a tad too short for some situations. And, oh, nice. There's a little Steam Deck logo that you can see on this, which is just kind of nice if I can get the light to catch it. That's covered up by, you know, these things. I guess I could peel it, but, oh. And I probably scratched it trying to peel it there. So, yeah, Steam Deck logo. How fancy. And the length of this, oh yeah, that's already, this is really hard to show. That's already way longer. I feel like the old one was half this size. I guess I read that this was like 1.5 compared to the old one, so that'll be nice. The only thing I don't like about these, I like that they're the exact wattage that it needs, the 45 watts, so it charges at its maximum speed. That's all really nice. But my one problem with these is just they're kind of large. I kind of wish you could like disconnect this cable so you could store it a little easier, that the prongs came back and hid out of the way. That would all be really nice to have, but I have other USB-C chargers for that, I guess. It just, if that's on my list of very small improvements they could make to that charger, that's one of the things. Okay, your game's in a new light, and you know what? Let's just get this big thing out of the way. I guess I've never noticed on this too. Oh, let's compare. Seems almost identically the same size and shape of this, so it doesn't seem like there's any big changes there. The one thing I didn't notice in the past is it says, let's see if I can zoom in on this. Contents, video game machine. I thought it would just say Steam Deck or something like that, but video game machine sounds so generic on here. Okay, let's go back out. And see inside of this. So I do really appreciate that this is, you know, it's inside its case already. There's no extra things you need to do. It's just kind of ready to go here. And I really like, I feel like they started doing this kind of reflective, cool packaging on the Index, which I guess was one of their first, I don't know, quote unquote premium items. So that's cool to see that here. This also does have a like tear spot, but on my last one I didn't do that, and I tried to sneak it out of this case smoothly. And look, that's, ooh, that's pretty smooth. Oh gosh. Well, I say that, and here, as long as this doesn't rip, I'll be happy. There we go. Okay. Wow. This is maybe a little, it looks like it's like less shiny. Oh, that may be just my specific lighting. But I noticed that a lot of dust picked up on the old one a lot of the times. I do like that they changed the Steam Deck logo to match. All the other things seem about the same, except, and this is really small, but I like bags and accessories and stuff like this. Well, if I can get it to focus somewhere on here. Come on, come on, come on. It's kind of hard to tell, but this is flush, this zipper here, so it doesn't like stick out or bulge out in any way, which is really nice. When the old one had like a noticeable bulge. Again, that's like a super small thing, but it is something I noticed when packing this more and more, that it just stuck out at weird angles and in weird positions that I didn't love. And let's see if I can get this thing off without breaking it. That's going to be tough. I do like that there's this little, you know, valve logo on this tie that keeps it zipped up to show that it hasn't been opened. And I always try to get these open without breaking them, and yeah, I broke it. Wow. Mint condition, gone. Never again. Okay, so one of the and again, this is stupid because I like bags. One of the things I was very excited for on this was the carrying case, because I've taken my Steam Deck with me quite a bit on trips, and my biggest problem is how big this case is. I really like it when I'm throwing it in a bag where maybe stuff's loose and I don't have a ton of items in there to pad it out. But then the second that my bag is full, this takes up so much extra space. And normally I've got soft things around it. It's not like I've got my knives sitting in the box right next to it that are going to be in danger. So I was very excited to see that this case has the ability to be smaller. So this one has a Velcro strap on the front of it here. If I can pull this up. And I guess the handle's in a different location too because of this. So it's got a Velcro strap on the front to kind of hold it closed, and that's because this comes apart into two pieces. So if I try to unzip this, it gets stopped on this little Velcro buckle. I have to do that, which is a little extra security just in general with these zippers, so that's nice. Oh, wow. It mainly just looks like a darkened version of my other one, except I don't know if it catches in the light, but you can see the bezels are definitely reduced from this first one. And that was also nice to see. That's also a feature that the original Switch to Switch OLED had, of that those bezels are just quite a bit smaller, which helps with just having the bigger screen kind of fill it there. Other than that, let me get this case out of the way for a second. Like on first glance, I don't think you would really be able to tell the difference between these, especially with their screens off, other than the sticks on here have that gray undertone. This has the glossy, and wow, those feel so much grippier in the center. On here, it has a little grip, but I found that there was, I don't know if I want to show, like, it's kind of gross, but these get like a grayness to them in a way that I didn't love. Can I like block this out? Where they almost show like scratches on them. And it doesn't affect gameplay or anything, and I've tried washing them off and like trying to clean them, but they still collect. I don't know if it's dust or something on here that it's not like I'm being tough on these. I'm just playing normal games, but they just do, they show a little more wear on them than I would have expected. And that is one nice thing, is that with these more grippy ones that aren't that same almost like style that collects lint, that might be helpful to see. Everything else, it's got that special colored power button, so that's, come on, focus on these, please. Wow, it really doesn't like to focus. There we go. So yeah, it's got the little orange power button to also let you know that it's an OLED, and other than that, they really do look identical. But let's just have a feel on here. The triggers to me feel a little more springy just because they may be new. The bumpers feel a little less mushy. The old bumpers had a little bit of mush to them, especially if you clicked on certain parts of them, like all the way on the corner here. It wouldn't click as exact. It kind of reminded me of the Xbox One, Xbox Series controllers. Some versions of them, you have to click on a very specific part of the bumper or it doesn't click right. Everything else feels pretty much the same, except, wow, those power buttons feel better as well. Or not power buttons, start and select feel a little better. These also have a click to them, which is nice, because on mine, those... Come on, focus up here. These like menu buttons on the side are just mush. Like they almost have no give. That the haptics helps to give that something, but they really weren't. It's super responsive feeling, so that's nice to see too. But other than that, visually looks about the same. The back trigger or the back special buttons here maybe do a similar thing to the, I can't tell. I think they might be a little easier to press from the sides and about the same from the middle, but okay. And I guess, because this will take a second to turn on, let me... I do like when things come with their own microfiber cloth, so I just don't have to worry about that. That's always nice. And I did use the old one. It was always in my case just to like dust the screen off. This one's white. That's nice. And let me plug this Steam Deck in so that it starts, I guess, some of the boot up process. Okay. Okay, so the other special thing with this case is that it comes apart. So there's actually a lip under here, and so you can actually pull it out. And again, because I care about bags, I was very excited about this feature. The whole thing Velcros out, and you're able to have a more portable version of your carrying case, which will be so helpful. But let's see. The Steam Deck over here is starting up. I put it on its charger, and it already turned the light on it. If I remember anything about this initially, the like very, very startup setup phase took a little while to get going, which is why I was kind of setting it to the side. We'll kind of set that out of the way and see if it does anything. Oh, there we go. It's animating. Another welcome. Central Standard Time. And then I need to go set this up. So give me a second to select all the buttons. Wow, the trackpads on this are so much better. I didn't even realize what a difference that made. It's trying to connect to stuff. Hopefully I got my password right. But yeah, this case I'm very excited for. And also you get the added thing if you could kind of store, I don't know if you can see, there's always this space kind of around and to the sides where the charger can fit in. But now if you want to take the whole case, you could technically fit or hide something in there, which seems nice. Okay. And am I just forgetting my password in this point in time? Okay, connection successful. Continue. It is running through an install step, so it's getting stuff set up there. But that's this case. As silly as it sounds, I kind of wish, I guess they all come with it, so it doesn't make sense to. It's a little sad because I think it is on OLED specifically that you get this, but the fact that you can just take this that is about the size of the Steam Deck itself and throw it into a bag. Gosh, my autofocus is going wild on here. Can I maybe turn on the... maybe that helped focus a bit. But yeah, this is helpful. I also like with this, it has the kind of strain release on the screen. So if something were to press directly up against it, it's got some space. But yeah, my autofocus is going wild. Let me log into this one and we can just talk about some Steam Deck stuff. I don't think anybody's really watching right now. If anybody is watching, send me questions and I can answer those. But Main thing I've been playing on this lately has been making of Karateka. Apparently you can pronounce it however you want. I haven't checked out Persona yet. I've been playing a lot of Turok 2 on here. But generally, I've been loving pretty much everything with the Steam Deck. I've thought it's worked extremely well for all my use cases. And I just have been super impressed with how it handles so many things. There are so many games that I was waiting for a Switch port, or I was waiting for it to come to Xbox or PlayStation, that after I get done and playing working a whole day on like my desktop computer, one of the last things I wanted to do was sit at that same spot and play games on it, which is why the Switch I enjoyed so much. And this has done the same thing, but for PC games, which has been hard for me to kind of muster up the excitement for, just because, yeah, it's at the same desk setup and everything. But just being able to play so many of those games on here has been really incredible. It really cut down on the time I play Switch games, because I used to play a ton of indies once they'd come to Switch. Now I just play them when they come to Steam or while they're in early access, so I can check those out much earlier, which is very, very nice to see and to experience on there. So that's been really cool. And here we go. This is starting up. You've got mail. Come on. It's right here. You've got one of the first Steam Deck units. We have a firmware update. A couple reboots, your screen will turn off for a minute, so it's interesting. Again, the setup on the Steam Deck plain, or LCD, I guess they say now, was about the same. Like a longer setup as it installed and set things up and installed all the drivers and got things ready, so it took a while to get started up. I feel like I saw a bunch of unboxing videos where they had to fast forward time, and hopefully, I don't know, we can talk until then, but yeah, I've been really impressed with everything on the Steam Deck. The other nice thing is when capturing footage and doing all of that, the fact that I can run it on my desktop PC if I need to, for, better quality footage or anything like that, has been very helpful. I'm sorry, my camera just could not find the place it wants to focus on. That's kind of sticking. Yeah, so it's been really nice to play stuff on the go, especially with Steam cloud saves and everything. I can also go in and make progress on a game and then bring it up to my PC to record that section. So especially, like, I've been playing a lot of Turok 2 recently. If I get to a section that I'm like, oh, I definitely want to capture some footage of that, which has been a lot of the sections, I can create a save right then, and then cloud saves, I can transfer those over to my PC, load that up, and record it in higher quality footage on my desktop and do all of that. So that's been really nice. My only complaints with the Steam Deck currently have been, yeah, I'd love for games like Destiny or other big, multiplayer, always online games to support the Steam Deck better with their anti-cheat and to update those so that it works with this unit. But my main problem has been the touchscreen feels very inaccurate to me on this first model. It wasn't a horrible thing because I don't use it too much. It was mainly to click through occasional things. Turn that off. Click through occasional things. So it didn't make that big of a difference. But on any of these, I never felt like I could click on the spot I wanted and get it to go through. Especially something like, I really love playing these Picross games, and it always felt like I'm having to click way more. This one works pretty well because they're not too far away from each other. But there's just some where I feel like I'm having to double press and maybe not getting the input that I assumed that I would be getting here. So yeah, it works fine, but playing Picross games on the Switch, it is so much easier and so much more responsive feeling to do these touchscreen games. And I know it's kind of an in-between category, that it's not quite a PC, it's not quite a, console, but I found that the trackpads were what I used a majority of the time, and I don't know if I can pull it up here, but it's not showing me the mouse overlay. There's occasional situations where the touchpads don't work exactly like I'd want them to. Like this, I would expect to be showing a mouse so that I could move around on here. As it does in most things, you can hold that Steam button and use a mouse. And I think that the touchpads for mouse control, especially since they have this momentum that you can kind of fling and throw that mouse, work extremely well. So setting those up to be mouse control is really nice. And the other thing that's been really nice that I've never really messed with before are all these profiles for these different layouts. So going through and having them, let's see, we'll apply one of these. Having these to where I can apply a whole different layout if I just want to set something up a little bit differently. Let's see, I can set that up as a mouse. Let's see if that works. Yeah, it won't show me the cursor still, so that's a little strange, but it's just been nice that it gives you the flexibility. So if I am having trouble selecting different things, then I can go in and change stuff around. So like I can move this around. I wish that it would show me the cursor, and there's like weird, odd things like that that just maybe don't work as exactly as I'd want, and that's just kind of some of the learning curve. So that's kind of been my, I don't know, recommendation with the Steam Deck is you've got to be up for a little bit of tinkering on here. It's truly not very much. There's not been much that I've had to do or change on these, but you will run into occasional things where like one thing's off and you need to pull up the virtual keyboard by doing like Steam and X and pulling that up, which is an easy enough hotkey to remember. You need to go in and hold Steam and use the trackpad to pull up the mouse or something like that. Like there's small things on here that have maybe made me shy away from recommending to absolutely everyone. But if you're in that kind of bucket of saying, I love the Switch, I don't play as much stuff on it as maybe I used to because I'm playing stuff on other platforms, this is maybe the device for you because you get all of the games that maybe aren't coming to Switch anymore. And if you like a little tinkering or, you know, loading up some older games on it, then it works really, really well. Okay, I got to the login page on my other Steam Deck over here, so hopefully... Actually, let me quit out of this game, because it may throw some errors that I'm in here. Let's go out there. Okay. I'm signing in the OLED. But the trackpads on this new one, especially for touch typing, which this is one of the things I think is like a cool inclusion that Valve had, was the fact that you can pull up this little keyboard, if I can get to a place that has the keyboard, and you can use these trackpads to move these, and then you can use the triggers to select them. So you can type by pulling the triggers on these items and going in and doing that. And it's like decently fast. It's definitely better than the touchscreen clicking, but that's why, and you can also tap on the touchpads, but that's probably why I've used this a lot, is because the touchscreen felt so inaccurate to me. And on this new Steam Deck, which is now at a screen that we can look at, felt immediately more responsive on the trackpad behavior, for typing at least. So that's really, really nice to see. Okay, welcome to Steam Deck. We've got the Steam button, which that's where all my little shortcuts are. Quick access menu, power button, volume buttons, micro SD card slot, have fun. So, so cool. All my stuff is just ready and pulled up on here, which I know that's not that special, but it feels like it was a harder process to get my Switch set up than than this. I also probably notice a lot of the banding seems to not be happening on here. Yeah, let's install this and see how fast the downloads are. Actually, I'm wired, so they're going to be no different. Let's just test how the touchpads are then in that case. So yeah, there is some, you can see kind of the LCD or the screen refreshing effect go across here, but it doesn't seem as bad as the LCD. And I will say, like, this screen just seems so sharp. Like it makes it hard to believe that these are the same resolution. It definitely fills that bezel more. That's really nice. It does feel almost immediately lighter, which I didn't think I'd be able to actually notice. it feels quite a bit lighter. That's surprising. Okay, PictoPix is installing. Screen looks really, really nice on this. All the touchpad buttons feel even better. Let's go and look at just how, I know this is probably hard to see in a video, but the speed, the speed at which this selects just seems so much quicker and more accurate, and I get so much, maybe, honestly, maybe it's the haptics. They feel so much more responsive in here. And that, yeah, that feels better. It does. That touchscreen feels just more responsive too. So yeah, really small things. I really don't think you'd notice. I really don't know that it's like that big a deal. But since I've been playing with this for, you know, what is it, like almost 2 years now? Is that true? I really don't remember. Maybe it's only been one. Is it really 1 year? Wow, my mind's slipping here. Let's just see. Does this feel better to interact with the puzzles? It does seem like there's still like, maybe that's just this interface that there's some double clicks, but wow, that feels, and I don't mean to do constant comparisons with the Switch, but that's the only other real portable console I have like this that meets the same things. That touchscreen feels so much better. It feels like I could actually play touchscreen games on here, and I didn't feel like that with the original one. I felt like I could get it to work, but I would never go in and actually play through something that way. I guessed on that. That may not be. 3, 4, 5, nothing up there. 1. There we go. Yeah. I don't know. A lot of this is hard to show on the camera, but I will say overall, honestly, the trackpads, the touchscreen, those feel immediately better to me. Obviously, the screen looks very good. Like it looks like I know this is an 800p screen, but this feels like this is a higher resolution almost with how clear and how sharp this looks. That's such a nicer screen to have. All the HDR stuff is not going to come across well in here if I were to demo any of that, but all that to say, this is a nice device. The things I notice right off the bat are a big improvement here. And let's see, if I turn it off and turn it back on, is that technically how this works? If I just take this micro SD card out? I don't actually know if you're supposed to like turn this Steam Deck off to do this. Let's just put that in, boot it up, and see if my library is full of more games now. Yeah, 63 games installed now. Let's go look at something that I know. I don't know why Alien Hominid is saying out of sync. I assume that there's something it's trying to update because I just pulled all these up. You know what? Let's pull this out so it's just a little easier to video. So it looks like there is still a little bit of setup for games when you pull them into here. I guess it just needs these specific Proton versions or specific things in here that it needs to re-download even though you enter that micro SD card. A lot of these like Steamwork things, oh yeah, it's transferring from my desktop. I wish maybe if I zoom out some, will this focus a little? Oop. Come on. Focus on this thing. Okay. Yeah, that's got a bit to download, and it's downloading. Well, it's transferring from my PC upstairs and is downloading slower than I would expect, but all this to say, very impressed with this so far. Just over even just navigating through menus, doing that touchscreen, those trackpads feel very, very good in here. Let's see, can we tell Alien Hominid to download instead? And yep, it already completed. Go in here. So very good first impressions. I mean, if you were to order one of these now, you would definitely want to get the, yeah, it's still transferring stuff. You definitely want to get the OLED, I feel like. You could get the LCD if you're trying to maybe save some money or get one of those secondhand. But the OLED definitely does have just some pure technical improvements on the way the buttons feel, the way the trackpads feel, and stuff like that. That is really nice to have. Not a necessity. I was still enjoying my Steam Deck. If I had to stick with it for the rest of the time until a Steam Deck 2 comes in, like, 2-3 years, however long it'll be, I would not have been upset with that at all. Having a great time with it, especially my avenue of playing a lot of indie games that come out. It was perfect for that. And this one just feels better. It's a upgrade immediately from the weight, from the trackpads, from the touchscreen, from the screen itself visibly. And yeah, that's all really nice to have stuff. Of course, like, the upgrade maybe isn't necessary unless you are playing it a lot. And those things, which is what happened with me, hearing those specific upgrades called out, it immediately clicked in my head of like, yes, that would be very nice to have. That would make my day-to-day use on the machine and how much I play it even more enjoyable. But yeah, let's get up a little bit in here and just see, I guess, how vibrant this is. Look, it's bright. I don't know that I have any games that are specifically HDR and going to come across super well, but still, very nice screen, very nice upgrades here. If we'll load into the menu and actually see some stuff. It looks bright, it looks pretty. I don't think, well, it's not installed now, so I won't be able to load up in the other one, but yeah, putting them side by side, you'd still probably hardly be able to tell what the difference between them is, but if you think those improvements sound nice, I think this is a cool device for you. If you, can afford it, want it, those things sound nice. But I think that's it. So yeah, thank you to anybody who watched. Just showing my first impressions of this, and hopefully I'll have some more to say about it once I play with it more and put it through its paces. So thank you for watching. I'll see y'all, I guess, in a full video later. Thank y'all. Bye.